Hi, to those that don't know me, my name is Tanya Fleischer. I call my channel Tanya Moore Fleischer for the friends back in my younger days, the naughty days, to just to make it easier for them to find me at this stage. So this morning on YouTube training, they spoke about getting over your fear of posting your first video. So that's what I'm doing right now. This will be the third time I'm doing this week. It's been quite a challenging week, but God is good all the time. So, without further ado, I'm now 45 years old, and I'm just going to start this the way I believe God's told me to start this, and that is with a letter I wrote to Joyce Myers on the 21st of May, 2014. That's actually a day after my daughter's birthday. Um, Dearest Joyce, read God Dreams, Visions, and his book, Victim to Victor. Wow, what do I say? I must say, firstly, that I'm certain many think I'm mad in sending you this letter, and quite honestly, I do feel a little out of my depth here. But I need to be obedient to what I believe God is telling me to do. I've sadly wasted way too much time, and I'm sure suffered unnecessarily as a result of not being obedient. My name is Tanya Fleischer. I'm 40 years old. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. I gave my life to the Lord at the age of 14. My journey, I believe, has been one that He wants me to share on a large scale. It is for this reason I'm sending you this letter. This is a very brief story of how the Lord birthed the idea of Victim to Victor. 9 years ago, I had a dream. In the dream, I saw a book. This book was quite thick. The cover was black with a large hand reaching out to a small hand. The title was in red, Victim to Victor. I turned the book to its side to see the author. It was me. At that time, my husband at the time and I were in ministry, him preaching and me trying to get an old farm up and running to start a youth camp. Sorry, just bear with me. I never thought much of the dream, but it did plant a seed. 2 nights later, I had the same dream. When I woke up, I told my husband jokingly, "Guess what? I'm going to write a book." At the time, I was joking, as I don't know how to write. A short while later, I went to visit a friend who has known me most of my life. When I walked in, she said, "Tanya, I have a favor to ask you. One day when God is using you in ministry, can I please write your life story?" I was floored. The hairs on my arms stood up. Could this book, dream, be serious? Whilst I was there, I started to bleed. I was 4 months pregnant at the time. I rushed home and ended up being admitted to hospital. After 2 weeks of on-off labor, I lost Caleb. I was totally peaceful at the time, as I knew God had a purpose in me being there. Whilst I was there, I prayed for a younger teenager who had also lost her baby. I was honored in being used to bring her to the Lord. Another lady opposite me was coughing so severely. Another lady opposite me was coughing so severely it actually annoyed me. Sorry, not very loving, I know. One day, frustrated, I got up, went to her bed, took her in my arms and prayed for her. Coughing stopped, and the next day, to the doctor's absolute amazement, she was up and eating. Strangely enough, I read your book, Battlefield of the Mind, whilst I was there. People from the church came to visit. When they saw I was not tearful and depressed, but rather peaceful and almost joyful, they told me that it was okay to be depressed. I told them I was fine and peaceful. Their response was, "The depression will come, and when it does, we'll be there for you." I was angry. They had just spoken death over me. My feeling was and is, we are in this world, but not of this world. Depression after miscarriage. Depression after miscarriage does not have to be for us, as we have peace knowing our Abba Father sees the whole picture and his plan for us is good. It wasn't long before I did indeed start suffering from depression. I've battled with addiction on and off from the age of 14. I started to abuse meds to escape the darkness about 12 years later. My marriage had started to crumble. One Sunday, I went off to the doctors to fake kidney stones so I could get a pethidine injection. I urinated into a container, for the doctor, pricked my finger, and added some blood, and sure enough, kidney stones were diagnosed. The doctor, however, did not give me the pethidine shot. Let me just grab the next page quickly. Oops, it's upside down. Okay. The appointment had cost over 300 rand. I contemplated going to another doctor, but due to the cost, decided rather to go to an old drug spot and get a street drug called ecstasy. While sitting in the car, I cried out to God, "Why, Lord? Why do I look to drugs always when I know you? Why?" Out loud I said, "I choose God." I started my car and headed off to the pharmacy to get my normal fix of codeine. Whilst driving back home, I clearly heard the Lord say, "Write the book." I got angry and frustrated and answered, "Who am I to write a book? People like Joyce Myers write books. I'm nobody, a junkie." He replied, "I don't want someone's testimony. I want someone in the situation and how I deliver them, so that my broken can know that they are not alone." I ignored this and life got worse. My husband up and left for Cape Town. I decided to have myself put in a rehab facility. It was just after I'd spoken to my daughter's gymnastics coach to tell her I'd be away for 3 months. Then in the distance, I saw an old friend at the golf club. I had a beer or two and headed off to fetch my daughter. On the way, I was arrested for drunken driving. I was put in jail overnight. The following day, my two pastors came to see me. They told me they had spoken to the detective/prosecutor to make sure that I would remain in jail for the weekend. Devastated, I returned to my cell. In the cell, I sat in a ball of darkness and cried out to God, "If I need to stay here for the weekend to learn my lesson once and for all, then so be it. But Lord, I don't think I will make it." Clearly I heard, "Write the book." Shortly after this, I was called into court to appear before the judge. I was released without bail. The book started bothering me. I actually started to believe I'd be put in jail until the book was done. The problem was, although I knew what the book looked like, I had no idea how to write or what the contents would be. One night after fellowship, full of the Spirit, I could not sleep. My parents, who had come over to spend a night, had gone to bed and I was bored. Again, clearly I heard, "Write the book." I went to my computer, put it on and said, "You write." It flowed. That night I wrote about 5 chapters. The next morning I showed it to my mom to see what she thought. She cried and said, "Carry on. I can't wait to read the rest." My mom has unfortunately passed on. I would, however, like to dedicate the book to both my beautiful parents in memory of them. I would, however, like to dedicate this book to my parents and in memory of her and have it published by her birthday next February. I was not disciplined and the book never continued to flow. In fact, one morning whilst on a drug escapade a couple of years later, my laptop with 12 chapters I had written was stolen. Almost 10 years have passed since that initial dream. The urgency in my spirit regarding this book has got acute. My biggest problem has always been my inability to see the victor part. I've now finally got glimpses of this and believe, as it says in Revelation 12 verse 11, they overcame the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony, for they did not love their lives, but laid them down for him. I've always seen my life as not my own but his, and thus have nothing to hide. 10 years later, I have a better idea of the contents of the book. It is not a testimony as much. As such, it comprises of diary entries and brief explanations of what was happening at the time. It covers the deepest, darkest places of a soul in torment, from drugs to sexual abuse, self-abuse, and illness, all the while crying out to God. I believe that the faith I have sought through the years to be delivered, others will receive instantly after reading this book. At this stage, not much of the book is written in book format. It is mostly still in my head and in diary entries. Joyce, I'm not sure how you come into this. I can only share what led me to writing this letter to you. A few months ago I had a dream, and in the dream you invited me to share testimony. I was sharing something along the lines of how we had settled for mediocrity when God had told us that the following signs would follow those that believed: that we would cast out demons, heal the sick, and raise the dead. My hands were still severely deformed through rheumatoid arthritis at the time. Whilst testifying that, although this was the case, and I was confused as to why it was the case, I refused to accept it. With that, a coffin was brought onto the stage. I obediently went over and prayed for the dead. The body came to life, and whilst praying, my hands straightened out. Let me just grab the next page. Are you guys still with me? Nearly done. Okay. This dream, I have come to believe, through this dream, I've come to believe that you're an integral part of all of this. I'm currently not working and have no vehicle. I was forced to take a sabbatical toward the end of last year due to health reasons. I thought that me not working would enable me to get cracking with this book. Unfortunately, though, I have not been disciplined and now need to get a job to help my husband with finances. Due to the fact that I have no vehicle, I've been considering a job in car sales, which will at least provide me with a company car. My concerns, though, are time and focus. The hours are long and 6 days a week. I'm not certain. And ... That's where that letter ends. Okay, next up. I'm now totally set free of all substance abuse. I must tell you, hold on, okay. Okay. I just get so excited. God is just so amazing. I'm now totally set free of all substance abuse. I must tell you, God does have a sense of humor. From taking anti-abuse to stop myself from drinking, I now keep pure alcohol in my bag for sanitizing my hands. But that's a story for another time. I will be posting more videos on Tuesdays, and on Thursdays I'll be doing some answering Q&As, as Katie Carney calls it. I'll be starting my Instagram account soon, so look out for it. Then I want to just quickly do a big shout out to Katie Carney. You're one of my biggest inspirations in taking this next step in my journey. There were others, and if I get this right, you can see them underneath the screen or under my subscriptions. Also, shout out to Lala, Andrea, and Angelique for your amazing love and support over the past week. Saskia Shelton, the girl I speak of in this letter, she is indeed writing the book Victim to Victor. Love you, Sask. Then to her mom, my bunny buns, love you, Buns, and thank you for all your love and support over the past 2 months. Friends, Frans, Range, Hattung, and Omar Koti, vreeslik lief vir julle. Kirsty Richmond, I love you so much. Finally, to my family, you guys are awesome. I love you too much. Mazel tov to Lior and Sela Amrani in Israel on the birth of their beautiful Baba today. Okay. Until next Tuesday, that's it for now. God bless you all.